Welcome to Bridge to Life's 38th anniversary celebration, Bridging the Gap, the Past, the Present, and the Future. I'm Charlene Smith, and I'm the Ministries Relations Director for Bridge to Life Ministries. But more importantly, I get to claim the title of daughter-in-law to Donna Becky Smith. I am so excited that you are here today. We're going to take you on a journey of how we celebrated the past, and then we're going to celebrate the present and share with you everything that's gone on currently over the past year. And then we get to fully anticipate and be joyful of what the future will hold. 38 years ago, Donna Becky Smith faithfully followed God's lead. In our 12-week course, we always ask those to look back and let God reveal the story. So now I'm going to invite you to listen to Donna and Becky and hear the story that they get to share with you today.
It's hard to believe that it's been 38 years since we started Bridge to Life Ministries, and they've gone by very quickly, and a lot has happened over those years, and we're excited to just share a little bit of that with you today as we walk you through the past, the present, and the future, and what God has done along those ways. But it all started with a couple over 38 years ago that I was working at a nonprofit organization, and the receptionist, Jody, came and said, I need some help. I filed for divorce with my husband, and he's not taking it well, and could you talk to him? And I wasn't sure. I've never done anything like that before, and so I met with him, and he just wept and said, Don, I want my marriage back. I want my wife and my kids back. And I said, Dan, first of all, you need to work on you. There's some things that he had done, nothing serious, but just neglected his wife, and she was hurting. And so he moved out. And in the process, I said, Dan, you need to get your life right, but part of that is accepting Christ as your Savior. And he said, I've always wondered, what is a funeral like for an atheist? And so I shared the salvation plan with him. And I finished, and he said, Don, I can't accept Christ. And I said, how come? And he said, because I'd only be doing it to get my wife back, and I know that's not the right reason. And I said, I respect that, and I'll continue to help you any way I can. So for the next 3 months, he and I would meet, we'd put the kids to bed, and I'd go out for coffee with him, and part of that was sharing Christ. And about 3 months later, he just said, Don, I want to accept Christ as my Savior. That was a huge change in his life. And his wife noticed it, and we began to do a Bible study, began to grow. But in the midst of that, they decided to reconcile. And that looked very encouraging, and things were going all right for a little while. And then she came back and said, I'm still not happy. I want a divorce. And that kind of led to...
Nobody's going to talk me out of it, That's what she said. So we didn't hear from her for a while. You kept meeting with Dan. And I ran into her at the grocery store. And I said, how are you doing? I haven't seen you for a while. And she said, well, I'm okay. The divorce is going to be final on Friday. And I said, do you have anybody going with you? And she said, no. I'm the black sheep of the family. Nobody wants to have anything to do with me. And I said, well, I'll go with you. And she said, why would you do that? I know it's against everything you believe. And I said, yeah, I don't believe in divorce, but I care for you as a person, and I love you, and I'll go with you. So I did. And that was my first experience going to a divorce court. And when it's uncontested, it's so cut and dried and simple, and you sign the papers and you're divorced. And I left there really sad, but I gave her a big hug, and I told her, we're here for you, we love you, and if you need anything, you let us know. And so then we didn't hear from her for a few months, I think. Mm-hmm. And then she showed up one afternoon at our house, and she said, everything that I had planned has not worked out. I'm a mess, and I don't know what to do. And so Don and you and I shared with each other what was going on, and we decided we would let her move in with us. At that time, we had four kids and expecting our fifth. And so she moved in with us. We had no idea what to do at that point. We didn't have anything like our Heart and Soul program written out. So, we just said we want to meet with you every other night just to kind of touch base and just try to encourage her. And so she moved in with us.
And so we would meet with her, like Becky said, but we realized she knew Jesus Christ as her Savior. She knew all the answers, but it really never got to her heart. And so we sent her up, some friends from our church had a cottage, and we said, could she go up there just to fast and pray and meet God? And she did, and she came back from there, and she said, for the first time, I feel loved by God. And she was amazingly transformed. And she went to her ex, because they were divorced at this time.
She called him late at night and said, I need to ask your forgiveness from my part in the divorce. I don't want to get back together with you, but I need to ask your forgiveness for my part. And that was the beginning of them just talking.
Being friends again, not that they were really enemies, but, and she had given him the house, custody of the children, everything. All she wanted was one of the cars and her clothes, let me go. And so for God to transform her bitter, hurting heart, and where she said, I want to be friends, but God has a way of working and reconciling the two of them, and a number of months later, they remarried each other as we stood up with them to witness that.
And their kids were witnesses too. So.
And so to this day, they're still together, Dan and Jody, and they're living in Tennessee, but God is using them there to encourage and help other marriages to this day. And so God continues to use them for His glory. The significance of their story is simply this. One is that we never give up on a marriage. Even if a couple gets divorced, we see God still continue to work, and couples reconcile. Second is, and this is probably the most important thing, is our number one goal is not to just reconcile marriages, as great as that is, but to use marriage issues as a means of helping individuals look at their relationship with God and hopefully bring them to a personal relationship with Him. And so we love what we're doing because we're really meeting people where they hurt and where there's no hope. And it's a fantastic opportunity to just really share Christ in a way that their hearts are tender and ready to respond. And we've seen hundreds of individuals come to know Jesus Christ as their Savior over the years. And so you have a letter from just recently. Becky received this, and I think it speaks about what we do.
Well, oftentimes we meet with couples or individuals, and then the counseling is done and things are going well, and we don't hear from them. And so this one, it's been 3 years since I'd heard from this friend, and I just want to share it with you. I wanted to share with you and Don just how much of an impact you both have had in my life. I have such adoration for you both. I will fondly remember the struggling and unlearning that took place in Don's office for me to understand myself and make sense of the situation that my husband and I found ourselves in. We still talk about Don and the lessons he revealed to us. I look at Don like my father, having lost mine as a teen. He was the loving presence I needed in the face of our marriage struggles. We had our third baby boy, and we now live in South Carolina and are more honest and loving than we have ever been, thanks to the truths that we uncovered through the tears, avoidance, and anger that Don helped us work through, including through the marriage classes that you both taught together through our vulnerability and authenticity. Don has been a huge teacher to me spiritually. He helped lead me to Christ. I had been in a Bible studying, but I hadn't fully accepted Him into my life. I remember the envelope with Christ written on it that we put our name on, a piece of paper inside, and the visual that gave me and changed my heart a little bit more. As I rejoice in my baptism on Sunday, you and Don have played a huge part in my pilgrimage to Christ. I have so much love and respect for you both and what you have accomplished through Christ for us.
And that's a story that touches our heart, just to know that in the midst of our faithfulness to God, we see hearts and lives change. And that's what we're committed to for 38 years. Yeah. And there's a lot of stories out there, some that don't make it, unfortunately. And the Bible says some have hard hearts, not receptive. But we want to give every opportunity for God to do the work. And so through the counseling, through the classes, when a couple comes to us, we try to share hope and what they need to work on, but we ask them to also go through the marriage classes as part of that. And through that, we see lives transformed. And we've had thousands of couples go through the classes locally, and we've trained couples around the country, which we'll talk about in a little bit, that many have been reached and helped as a result of the classes also. So looking in the past, we've seen God's faithfulness, we've seen His provision, and we just rejoice in what has happened. And part of that, if I could add, is our international ministry. And when we started Bridge Life Ministries, we just thought we'll sit down with a few couples, we'll somehow help them, and we'll do that as long as we can, and that will be it. We never dreamt that the ministry would grow to what it is today. We never dreamt that we would have the facilities we have today. We never realized that the ministry would grow outside of these four walls across the U.S. and around the world. And so God's been gracious as He opens doors, shuts doors and such. But part of the international ministry is in 1990, we were invited to the Czech Republic, which was in Czechoslovakia, to teach, and the material and the teaching just fit that culture well. Where they invited back, and for 30 years we have been going there, training and helping the marriages there. As a result, God has raised up two couples that have carried on the ministry there in counseling and family ministry and working with marriages, and we're just pleased with what God has done. Second, in 2010, a couple, James and Annie, came and got training and went back to India, and there they started Bridge Life Ministries. And it's just amazing what God has done. Now in just about 11 years, there are 20 chapters, cities with Bridge Life chapters in it that God is using to multiply. And that's significant for this simple reason. In that culture, it is very difficult to share Christ. If you follow the news much, you begin to see just the impact that Christians face and are persecuted. And dealing with marriages is a very subtle way of meeting couples and families where they are and sharing Christ. So God is using James and Annie in just an amazing way. Mm-hmm. And then in around 2011-12, we had the privilege of going to Guatemala. We've been there numerous times, training pastors to do marriage ministry. And so we've seen God raise up a group of pastors that appreciate the material themselves, but also they teach it to others, and God has just multiplied it there. So the material has been translated into Spanish, into several languages in India, into Czech, and we just see it reaching around the world. Brazil, Canada, Ukraine, Germany are some of the places that it's also being used. But God has multiplied the fruit, and we thank Him for that.
Wow, what an incredible journey. Dan and Jody's story are stories like we see even today. Their story was just the beginning of what the past 38 years has been. But not only are we helping strengthen and restore marriages, but we are helping strengthen and restore people's hearts. But then also, I love how we always talk about this isn't Donna Becky's ministry, but this is God's ministry. And we are so thankful that this past year, we have been able to reach more marriages than ever before. We have countless marriages that have a story just like Dan and Jody. And fast forward to today, we have now been able to hear double the amount of stories that we have heard because of being able to connect virtually. So we are excited to celebrate the present and share with you all that's happened in the past year. So much to be thankful for and grateful for. And so we can't wait for you to hear how we've been able to impact a marriage across the country. So now let's go back to Don and Becky as they talk more about what's happened this past year and introduce the Robertsons.
We want to share with you where the ministry is today. A lot has taken place in the past, but that brings us to a lot of changes that have taken place in the last year. With COVID taking place, it has drastically changed the ministry. In one way, it has opened up the door to help many more couples than we ever did before, which is a blessing. But we've had to meet some challenges as to how to do that. Part of that has been counseling. There was a number of months where all of our counseling was done by Zoom, nothing in person, which is kind of awkward. We love the personal connection, and so we've had to adjust for that. And also, our classes have changed. For a number of months, our classes were held just by Zoom with no people there. And that has changed to the place where now we have a few people present and we still offer it through Zoom. But the terrific part of that is that when we first tried to decide what we were going to do with the virus situation, we decided to offer the classes free to as many people as would care to take it. Amazingly so, we had 239 couples sign up to take the class by Zoom. We've never had that many.
Right. And they were from all over, not just here in Michigan, but there was a couple in Germany, and were some couples in Guatemala and Mexico and
Canada, Ukraine, and around the world that were taking it, plus all across the U.S. at that time. That
we were just blown away by that.
Normally, a class, we've had, just before COVID, we had 90-some in a class, which was big for us, one of the bigger ones. And classes were growing, and all of a sudden, Zoom, no one's here, and then we're doing it this way. And so now we're beginning to rebuild in the sense of allowing some people to come, but also be in Zoom. But we're helping couples that we would have never connected with.
And really, it stretched us because our board had talked with us often about, somehow multiplying and maybe doing something via the internet. And we would say, yeah, we need to, but, we just hadn't pursued it. And this was COVID was not a good thing, but it did stretch us and enable us to spread this in many ways.
We want to introduce a couple to you, Bill and Debbie, who were introduced to the ministry as a place to get help for their marriage. They're from New Jersey. And this connection would have never happened if it weren't for us offering the class by Zoom.
Yeah.
And then it continued up with counseling. And so we would like to just let you hear their story and how they were helped as a result of that.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bill Robertson.
And I'm Debbie Robertson.
And we are here to share with you a little bit of how we came to Bridge to Life Ministries.
Which is kind of neat because we're in New Jersey, and Don and Becky Smith, who run Bridge to Life Ministry, are in Michigan.
And through the miracle of Zoom and webinars, they were able to offer their 12-week intensive marriage course on a weekly basis, and utilizing their materials in their workbook. Don and Becky would have a 2-hour seminar on the webinar, and then we would do our lessons each week, exercises that we would share with each other during the course of the week. It was a lot of work, but it was worth it.
We've taken other marriage classes, and nothing compared to this. I mean, we learned new concepts of trying to love each other well, and coming to the conclusion that we were both very wounded people, and we need to learn to minister to each other. We looked at childhood issues and the baggage that we brought into the marriage, and different
things that that had caused problems for us in the past that we needed to address and get out on the table and take a look at them. And this course helped us do that, for which we're very grateful.
Yeah, it just guided us through the process and helped us be able to process different things.
Yes. So the 12 weeks were very, very good for us, but when we got to the end of the 12 weeks, we realized we still needed help. So fortunately, Dawn offered counseling services, which we took advantage of and continue to do so. We've been meeting with Dawn since last summer, every week or so, and continuing just to unpack issues as they come up in our day-to-day living.
He has very, very good insights.
Very good insights, guided us to further resources that helped our marriage, and just very much appreciate the skills and years of knowledge that he brings to his counseling. So we're here to thank Dawn and Becky, to congratulate them on 38 years of ministry and service to the marriage community.
I think they know what they're doing after 38 years.
I think so too.
And they have a lot to offer.
And so we want to say thank you.
Yes.
God bless you, keep you healthy, keep you going. And we know that you will be touching many more couples in the future.
Yes.
Thanks so much. We love you.
Yes, we love you.
As far as our counseling at Bridge to Life is concerned, we have 3 of us on the counseling team, and we really appreciate our team. Dottie Caldwell is been with us for a few years, and she meets with women and especially children who are involved in marriages breaking up, and she helps with marriages, and she just has a tender heart that is really effective. And then we're thrilled to have Matt Sharp with us, and he's recently joined us, but very effective and a kind pastor's type heart to really minister and help. And so if it wasn't for these folks, we would not be able to help the couples that come to Bridge to Life for help, because we've just been overwhelmed. There are other types of ways that we make ourselves available to help marriages, and let me just share a few of those. One is we have a program called The Heart and Soul of Loving Well that is designed to take couples who want to go deeper into their marriage relationship. When they first come to Bridge to Life, they take The Heart and Soul of a Real Marriage, which is a 12-week course to walk through. And a lot of couples just say, we want to grow more. And as a result, we say, why don't you take this intensive? It's in a small group of 3 couples, and they talk through and work through their issues in a way that really brings deep healing and really takes couples forward. Also, we have our Couples Getaway that we offer each year. We offer 2 weeks of Couples Getaway that you can look up on our website. And we've been doing that for
2 weekends, but not 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weekends. Yeah, probably don't want it 2 full weeks, right?
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
But
2 weekends we offer. You can get information on our website. But we've been doing it for 28 years, and so that and the weekends fill up. So it's.
And we just truly look forward to it. And we have families that will, when we first started, it was small, and now it's like we usually one of the weekends we filled the whole place with our couples, and it's been neat to see generations come now. They bring their kids, their married kids now.
Yeah. And this is done at the beautiful bed and breakfast lodge, The Shack, nearby. We also offer Bible studies. Becky leads a women's Bible study. I lead a men's Bible study. And our concern is to help individuals grow spiritually. We're not just trying to tweak a little bit of their marriage and make them feel better, but we really want them to know who Jesus Christ is and what he means to them, and how to really walk in faith and to trust him and deal with the deeper issues in their hearts. So the Bible studies are really key in meeting those needs. Dottie leads a women's healing journey support group, which is for those women who are married to men who have sexual addictions, and to really help them heal and deal with a lot of the brokenness and hurt that they deal with. And so that's a very helpful program that we offer. And then probably most of all is our program to help churches do marriage ministry, which is called No Marriage Left Behind. And our passion...
well, I think it came out of, we can't reach every church in the U.S., so how can we duplicate it? Because as we get older and we know we won't be around forever, we needed to do something to duplicate us. So that's why we started this No Marriage Left Behind program, is to teach, to get churches to send their couple of couples that they feel like would be good at teaching the heart and soul of loving well, or of a real marriage. And we work with them and send them back to their church equipped to do just that.
Yeah. And we've had close to 90 couples be trained in to help marriages across the U.S. And so it continues to grow. In fact, this year, this will probably be our largest year of training. And we expect it to explode just simply by the need that is out there and the people that are contacting us. And so we see training couples in churches to do marriage ministry as a future Bridge to Life. And that's going to multiply this ministry to help many more marriages, but also to help individuals know Christ.
And we have a couple that just recently took the training, and she called me and said, we were really nervous when it was week 4 and we needed to share the plan of salvation, and we just struggled. They had a little argument before class and everything, but she said they went ahead and pushed through it, and they shared, and they had two individuals that accepted Christ, and there was one that was an anonymous one that hadn't signed the card. And then they had a couple of recommitments, and they were thrilled. And she said, we never thought in our own church that there might be ones that didn't know Christ. But they went ahead and did it, and they were just so excited. And they say, we will always share the plan of salvation because we know it's necessary.
So the potential is huge, and we're excited to equip and train couples that can really make a difference. And so that's where we're investing into the future, and that's where we are putting our energy and our resources to really expand. We'll continue to do what we're doing here, but we're shifting some of our focus as we move forward.
I just get so excited when I hear all the things that are going on for Bridge to Life today. And to hear the Robertsons' testimony that we reached them from here, but through a computer across the country, is just amazing. Again, we followed God's lead, and now we are here today. And so I want to be able to have you bridge that gap and see our mission and how we really want to bridge that gap for the future. We're going to take you on this next journey with us, and you are going to feel like you can bridge the gap with us too. So I am excited to go back to Don and Becky as they share with you all of the future plans, how we're going to bridge the gap.
We are excited about the future, and God has been faithful over the years. Probably about 13, 14 years ago, we asked the question, when Don and Becky die or can't serve anymore, what do we want done with the ministry? And the board and all of us agreed we want the ministry to continue. And that meant, so what do we need to do to make it possible? And we realized part of that was we were just in a very small building in North Muskegon, and we needed larger facilities. And so we began to pray, God lead us. And we had no money at the time. And it's like, how do we do this? And we came across this building. It was a shell of a building, and there was no way we could afford it. And
I basically told you were crazy to even think we could afford it.
I know it.
I know.
Everybody
we have little
did.
faith.
But you know what? It's a long story, but to make it short, what God did was
It was a miracle.
we negotiated, and we bought the building, and in about 40 days with cash, people donated just amazingly, and then we got it pennies on the dollar for the building, and then we raised money over the next 2 years to pay for building the inside of the building, and we paid off the building totally, all the costs, and so we are totally debt free, and we have a building now that we can use for the future of the ministry, and we've been here just about 10 years. And God has just been so kind to say, we want this ministry to continue. So that's where we're at the moment, and we're passionate about multiplying the ministry. We have room to take on other staff, but part of that is how do we work with other churches to equip them to do marriage ministry? And we realize that in the future we will need additional staff to coordinate and work with that. But right now we're laying the foundation, and we want to see an effective way of equipping these churches. And right now we want to share with you a couple that has gone through the training and is being used by God in a mighty way. And so we'd like to introduce you to Dan and Debbie, and they're going to share their story with you right now.
Hi, we're Dan and Debbie Quisenberry from Element Church in East Lansing.
And we are so excited and feel so privileged to be able to be here tonight and to celebrate with Don and Becky. Don and Becky, thank you so much for your faithfulness, your obedience to God, and for the impact that Bridge to Life Ministries has had on our life and so many other lives. We celebrate this evening with you, 38 years. We just thank God for both of you.
All that past being so important, now is the time that people, experts are telling us we need to be ready for the refugees of the sexual revolution, for the wave of grief that's hitting this country because of a pandemic. And if the church doesn't have answers for marriage, no one else will. And it's the marriage relationship that God used to illustrate his relationship with us and the relationship we have to the world. So what could be more important than the work we're all doing? Mm-hmm. We're excited about what we've done, and that's part of our past. We knew several years ago, 8, 9, 10 years ago, that we were looking for something that could minister not only to our own marriage, but could minister to the marriage of other people.
Yeah. Dan and I will have been married for 40 years this coming June, and we've had a good marriage, and we've loved the Lord and served him together, but we would continue to have the same pattern of conflict in our marriage. And we were looking for something that could help us understand what that was and break that pattern. And had we not discovered Bridge to Life and Don and Becky, we would still be married and we would still be serving God. But we knew God had more for us and more for his kingdom. And so when we discovered Bridge to Life about 8 years ago at my cousin's daughter's wedding, we just knew in our heart we had found what we had been looking for. And we took the training and we began teaching Heart and Soul about 7 years ago. And we have been able to teach the class multiple times each year. And not only has it blessed our marriage, but it has blessed so many other couples and marriages.
Yeah, we've had a chance to, because of the impact we've had at our the initial church we taught it at, we've ended up sharing it with several other congregations and churches around the state of Michigan. Mm-hmm. And certainly I've been teaching it here at our church Element in East Lansing. And it has an impact, just like it has on Debbie and I's marriage. It has an impact on other people's marriage, because they see, when we teach, we share from our own personal experiences. We share the vulnerabilities, we share the weaknesses. And it's nobody's past is perfect. And God uses those things to share with other people that God has healing for them as well. And so God uses the imperfect to share with people and to heal people in their marriages. So through the message of Heart and Soul Real Marriage and the Bridge to Life Ministries, God is restoring marriages, He's restoring families, and through that, communities. It brings to mind something I've been reading lately. It's a book called Good Faith by David Kinnaman and Gabe Lyons. And in that, the authors share that it's the Christian community, the household of God, it's the only remedy that there is for the relational and sexual sickness that our culture is experiencing. This world needs us. This world needs ministries like we see at Bridge to Life. And what could be more exciting than to partner with God in sharing the good news of Jesus through the relational capacity of marriage and healthy marriages.
So, Don and Becky, again, we celebrate with you this evening. We love you and we love God, and we thank Him for you. And again, we just celebrate with you, and we look forward to what God has coming in the future, and we know He has more. And so we join with you at Bridge to Life in serving God and seeing marriages restored for Jesus.
Love you all.
Love you.
Dan and Debbie have been a huge help to the ministry, and we have other couples just like them that God is using in a mighty way. But in order to move forward, we also realize there's other needs that need to be met. And we've been praying and we've been planning as to what that would look like. And so let me just share with you several projects that we are in the works of putting together for the future of the ministry. One of those involves taking our Heart and Soul of a Real Marriage course and making it into a mini-series, short lessons that can be used in churches, for small groups, for discipleship, where it can be used in more settings than it is currently. And we believe when we do that, the program will explode. And the other needs that we see that we're passionate about is to offer the program to African American communities and marriages. There's a big need there. And we had the privilege about a year ago of going to the inner city of Detroit and doing the training. And so we've taken a basic step, but we're looking forward to God opening up the door, and we're praying that God would lead the African American couple to take the leadership and do that. Hispanic marriage is the same thing. There's just a huge need there, and we're passionate about what that will look like to find a couple that will train and help these marriages, because we don't speak Spanish, and that's a big issue. And so we're preparing material. Right now, our material is in Spanish already, but we want to reach out into that community. And then another whole area is law enforcement. And as you know from the news, those law enforcement officers are under tremendous stress. That puts a tremendous stress on their marriages. And here at Bridge to Life, we currently help numerous police officers who are facing real struggles. And so we have a couple, Kim and Greg, who have a passion for law enforcement, and they are getting training right now, and they will be helping us put together a program that will meet these needs, and they will head up this part of the ministry to help us help marriages. And our prayer is that it will also be used to help veterans in their marriages. because there's great stress and difficulties in those too. And so we've just asked God to help us open up where He wants us to lead and to provide the resources, the people to do that. So you can be praying for us that God will help equip us and guide us to the right people that will help do this. So we want to introduce to you Greg and Kim as they share their story with you now.
Hi, we're the Polsons, and we're excited to be here today and share with you a little bit about our story with Bridge to Life and what God has done through this amazing ministry.
When I met Kim, I thought, my gosh, she's it. She's the perfect package. Beautiful woman, Christian lady, just really faithful woman, a woman I could spend the rest of my life with.
When Greg and I met, we were a little bit older than our friends. Most of our friends had already gotten married, and we were 33 when we got married. You're excited that you finally found the one. And it's interesting to see what plays out because there's no perfect person. And as we got married and started our new life together, we had a lot of surprises that came into our marriage.
Kim and I, as she said, we're both 33 years old. We got married, and all of a sudden, my new wife started asking me, well, why are we doing it this way? And I don't think I really knew how to relate to that at times. I wasn't the man that God intended me to be. I had a lot to learn. I had a long way to go.
Being that we were both single for so long and both in control type of people and very independent from our backgrounds with work and in living, it was challenging to say the least. The core of who we were started coming out.
Kim was always the one that was searching out new experiences for our marriage, new ways to value our marriage. We'd go to marriage conferences, and I think I was always, most of the time, was agreeable to that. It's like, oh, okay.
So through work, I met this woman. She took me aside and asked me, have you ever heard of Bridge to Life? And I said, no, I haven't.
And then when it came time for Bridge to Life, and Kim approached me with this, I guess I kind of shrugged my shoulders and thought, well, do we think we really, and knowing deep in my heart, we really did need something.
We decided to, enroll in this, the Heart and Soul of a Real Marriage class, and we did.
I sat there and looked in the workbook, and I'd take little peeks over at Kim, because it would be things that would really be striking home, talking about the way we were raised, talking about our siblings, talking about our marriage, talking about our relationships with friends, all those things.
By the time we got to, I think it was around the 8th week, all of a sudden I had the meltdown of meltdowns, and I realized it wasn't him. It was me.
This is really striking home. This is really, what's the word?
Convicting.
Mm-hmm. This is, I always have to ask her that, but I remember it now because I didn't like to use that word because it convicted me. We're two different people, but what this did was it gave us a path to reconciliation. And Kim and I would talk about it because she would say, you have these walls and I have these walls. We need to break these walls. Well, guess what? I had these little cracks in the walls, but Bridge to Life broke that wall for me.
Because when you get married, it's between the two of you, the covenant, and the Lord. And that's one thing that Bridge to Life brought in for us was that it was a three-legged stool.
Out of all these marriage conferences that we went to, I don't think that they ever sunk in the way God intended them to.
That is what I gained from Bridge to Life. Like I said, we've gone to other marriage conferences, and they've all been great, but they haven't been so deep.
As I look back on it, and as I have changed as a man, and I attribute that to our great God. But what was His instrument for giving me that gift? And it's been Bridge to Life.
You know, I think both of us feel so honored to be a part of this 38th anniversary celebration for Bridge to Life. And we just want to share it with everyone because it breathes life. God definitely has His hands on this. And there's been so many miracle stories. This isn't an accident. This is something that is making a difference in our community. When something so good takes root and starts sprouting, the fruit just keeps going on and on. And there's so many amazing ideas and vision for this ministry that's going to carry us into the next generation. So we're really excited about everything that's happening with this ministry right now. We love Bridge to Life. We thank them from the bottom of our heart, and we thank God for leading us here. And what's going to come? What's the next season for Bridge to Life? We're excited to be a part of it.
As you can see by listening to Greg and Kim, there's great potential here. And they're a terrific couple that God is using. And so we appreciate your prayers for them and many others. Which leads us to the future of Bridge to Life. Many people have asked, Don, when are you retiring? Or is there a plan for some transition? And so probably now is the time to at least share a few thoughts along that line. First of all, we have been praying about the future of Bridge to Life. And at this point, I have no plans of officially retiring. Truthfully, I love what I do. If I was a volunteer, I'd do what I'm doing now. But we realize that there's no guarantee as to how long I will live or how my health will be. And so we are actively looking and putting in place a plan as to who the next leader for Bridge to Life would look like and who that should be. And so the board is working on a 2-year plan as to what is necessary to bring on a future leader, what should his qualifications be, and how can we be ready for that when God leads us to the right person. So it's a difficult process because we want a person that shares the same passion, the same vision that we have, and we want that ministry to continue.
We want somebody that is willing to be mentored by you and is teachable and trainable.
And so it will be a gradual process of this transition. Also, when we do have someone and they take over, I will continue, Lord willing, to be a part of the ministry as far as continuing to do teaching, do training, and writing material. So I'll still be actively involved, but a lot of the burden will be taken off of me so that the ministry can continue to grow. But,
and we do want someone that can maybe take it that next step, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've taken it, I think we've done a good job taking it how it's gone so far, but we do, we need a younger blood in here and maybe taking it just a little bit newer direction.
Yeah. So we're trusting God. So we covered your prayers for this process. We don't know what it will look like at this point. But we're trusting God. It's God's ministry.
Absolutely.
And if it's God's ministry, then He's going to take care of His ministry. We're just here to serve faithfully and to trust Him as to what His plans are. So, 2 thoughts as we kind of just wrap things up here. One is we can't do this without your prayers. This ministry is a ministry that is spiritual warfare, really. We're fighting against Satan's schemes and desire to destroy marriages and families. And we're on the cutting edge. And because of you and your support and your prayers, you equip us, you strengthen us, you uphold us to be able to do this. And we're so thankful because we couldn't do it without you. And also we realize that to move forward, we need you to really stand behind us as far as financially, in prayer, in volunteering, whatever God lays on your heart, or to be trained. We believe that there's great opportunities ahead. But because of you, we're here and we're excited about what the future looks like. So thank you for your prayers. Right now, we're excited as we celebrate 38 years. And we know that God has a plan, and we're trusting Him for that. And so thank you for your faithfulness to us.
So many amazing stories tonight. I'm sure you have a story too. Do you resonate with Dan and Jody? Maybe you were a couple that we reached this past year and you were the Robertsons. I know there are many couples that Donna Becky has helped, Bridge to Life has helped. And maybe you're one of those leaders just like the Polsons and just like the Quisenberries. After hearing everything tonight about the past and how we've celebrated the present and how we are just anticipating all the joy that the future is going to bring, I know that you want to help bridge that gap. So 38 years ago, we took a giant step in faith. And I'm asking you now that if you have been one of those marriages that we've helped, that you take out one of these cards. Some of you may have received this card. You can scan this QR code and donate straight from there. It is safe and secure. Some of you are on our auction site and you found items that you just love and you've been happily bidding away. Thank you so much for that. But if we have helped you in your marriage, if you've seen marriages helped by Bridge to Life, we ask you right now to take that responsibility and help us. We have been so graciously given a match to make our dreams come true. We ask that you help us take these next 38 years and make all the dreams that you have, that we have, a reality. I know you can help bridge this gap, and we are excited to take on the challenge. Another way that you can give to not only let your match go further today, but you can go onto our website and you can click a monthly donation. That would give us the security and the confidence to know that we can do this every single day. We are here because we are faithfully listening to God's lead, and we want you to be a part of that. But it goes beyond the auction items. It goes beyond the stories. It's all the people that still have not been reached. And so we need your help today. Take that responsibility, donate, so you can help bridge the gap and help us strengthen and restore more marriages. We thank you so much, and we hope that you've enjoyed tonight. We hope that the stories have resonated in your hearts, that we've impacted your life, and that we can't wait to hear more of what God's doing in your life. We hope you have a great evening, and God bless.